At some point in your academic journey, you'll probably be required to write an abstract. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about what makes a perfect abstract and how it can make your paper seem more intriguing and appealing. You're probably thinking, what's an abstract? Well, to be in the position to write an abstract, you first need to write an academic paper, report, or article. An abstract is a short summary of your paper, which provides all the essential information into one bite-sized paragraph. Abstracts can vary in length, but they're typically between 150 to 200 words, and that's roughly 6 to 7 sentences. When writing your abstract, you should keep this essential definition in mind. You're not writing anything new, you're just squeezing in the crucial information from your research paper into a much smaller and more succinct format. The next obvious question is, what earth is an abstract used for? Well, they're used for a variety of different reasons and different contexts. The most obvious one is when you're planning on submitting a paper to a journal or a conference. The editors might want a short summary of your research to assess whether it's suitable for their platform. If your work is published, then the abstract is usually attached to the paper, typically at the start. This can be really useful for readers as it gives them the main argument of the paper right in front of them before they even start reading, and it can really help them keep track of what's going on throughout the paper. Abstracts are also important for when papers are inputted into online databases, as they provide keywords for the database's search engine. Whilst it's short and sweet, it's still an important piece of text, and writing it well can maximize your chances of your research being published or read. With this in mind, it's a good idea to consider the specifics of your situation. For example, who is going to read your abstract and in what context? Whatever the case, make sure you do your own research to tailor your abstract to the specific context. With that in mind, there are some pretty universal things to include in your abstract, whatever the context. First and foremost, and arguably the most important, is the introductory statement. This is normally just one sentence long, and it's designed to quickly and clearly encapsulate what you'll be going through in your paper. Saying this in one sentence might seem like an impossible task, but it's actually quite easy. All you need to do is think about the question you'd like to answer or at least address in your paper. In scientific research, this might be testing the validity of a hypothesis. For research in the arts, this might be exploring a particular theme of a text or artwork. For research in the humanities, this might be interrogating a social issue in a particular historical or geographical context. However you choose to summarize your research topic in this introductory statement, it's always a good idea to make sure this is as clear as possible, and make sure to reduce unnecessary jargon. If your introductory statement is to introduce the research, next you want to talk about how you're going to answer your research question, or in other words, what methods you're going to be using to answer your research question. This is especially important in data-driven research, such as the social and natural sciences. You might briefly want to touch on the ways in which you've gained your data. For example, what kind of experiments you've conducted and who your target group is for your research. Touching on your methodology is equally important for more interpretive forms of research. For example, you might want to include 1 or 2 sentences that cover your analytical models or philosophical principles. It's almost certain that your research sits within a broader discussion or context, and an abstract is a great way to mention the work done by others in your field. This doesn't need to be an exhaustive literature review, but if there are some prominent voices in your field, then it's a great idea to mention them in your abstract, and you might want to mention how your work may differ from theirs. Because your abstract is basically a summary of your paper, it's important to give an idea of what your results will be. Again, this doesn't need to be exhaustive, it just needs to point in the direction of what your conclusions are. Just like the introductory statement, it's a good idea to simplify your concluding remarks by using clear and specific language. And the final sentence or two is a great way to provide the impact that your research will have. You could mention the consequences your findings may have in your field and to other areas of research, or how your work could contribute to discussions and movements in the non-academic world. Although the abstract may seem unimportant compared to the paper itself, it's actually a really crucial part of getting your work out there and allowing people to read your research. Whilst the specifics of what goes into your abstract will differ based on the consequences, it's good practice to keep this simple and clear. It is a summary after all. If you'd like to read more about what makes an excellent abstract, then check out the link below to look at some top-notch examples. I'm Beth, and this is Udemic Academy. If you like this video, then please leave a comment and consider subscribing to our channel where you can find more handy videos on various topics around the world of research.